I feel like I want to find the newcomer, the new tight end.
Yeah.
The tight end that's like, but the problem is these new tight ends are the darlings. Is Njoku an option?
I liked Njoku last year, and he came through. I feel like I got lucky from Joe Flacco, though. I'm worried about Deshaun for your Browns. Sorry, Miz.
Thanks.
His arm's a little sore right now. I'm like, I mean, it's been a while.
Winston, Jameis is good. Jameis can throw the ball.
He will.
He might throw it to the other team a bunch of times, but he's gonna get it. He's gonna have the same amount of interceptions he has touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, he's gonna be targeting. I just don't know. Like, I'm looking for that tight end, man. I'm looking for that.
I got the guy.
Round that nobody else is like talking about. It's like, I got this guy.
I got the guy. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
What? Why are you shaking your head?
You're welcome. I just want the people to know, and I've always said this about you. You know, you have your professional career and all that, but I've always been impressed by your integrity and you're a very honorable guy. Again, I hate to, kiss your ass a little bit here, but you are the man. You are one of the nicest guys I've ever met because, you're in a position where you could be a real a-hole, but you're a real one, Mike.
I play a good one on television. I play a real good. I play a really good, egotistical, arrogant person on TV. But now, like, people seem to love it, so I get cheered for it. Before, I used to get booed every single week of the year. But you know what? Now I'm starting to get appraised for it. I'm starting to love it. But you know what's one thing about fantasy radio that I'm like, you know what we need? We need less talk about The Miz and wrestling and all that stuff. We need more talk about fantasy football because let's face it, I'm in 6 leagues this year.
Right.
I've got celebrity leagues. I've got, charity leagues.
Right.
I got a lot of different ones that are PPR, half point PPR, regular. I need to dive into this. Like, yeah. I have a specific amount of time that I have with you right now, Guru, and I have questions. I'm a number 1 pick in a PPR, and I know in a PPR in America, you don't have McCaffrey as your number 1.
Right.
So I'm thinking, and by the way, he's not even your number 1 running back. Nope. Like, Breece Hall's your number 1 running back. So I'm curious, at this number 1 spot, what are you doing? Like, are you going wide receiver or do you go running back? Because I feel lately I've been hearing a lot. Like last year, you don't touch a running back in the first 2.
Right.
But this year, I've been hearing people going, hey, I might go running back because there's a lot of later, 3, 4, 5 where I can get a Michael Pittman. I can get a Mike Evans. I can get a Nabers, and I can get all these guys. What am I doing at the number 1 spot?
Look, I'm going to default to going with the running back. I don't want to waffle here because I do like Lamb and Tyreek and, Chase as well. The problem with taking those guys, and I think this is part of knowing your league too, Mike. You're in a bunch of them, but you probably don't know all of them, but will you have a crack at Derrick Henry in round 2? Because I do like Derrick Henry quite a bit. I don't like round 2 in general. If you think, maybe not.
I might have a crack at him. So do I go Tyreek? And if I can get Derrick Henry on the back end, do you really like Derrick now? Like, a lot of people are like saying he's old, and you're a person that usually goes, I don't go with the old guys. I'm in with the new.
Right. That's true. There, no doubt. But, everyone evolves a little bit. As I always say, I just want to get the answer to the question right. So every once in a while, I'll certainly deviate from some of my core principles, like, an older running back like Derrick Henry, but it's just such a beautiful situation, and they're going to be so impossible to defend. They'll move the ball. They'll control the games that they're in most of the time, and he'll get the rock. And I think he's going to deliver. But, at the end of the day, you got to make a call. I'm in on the stud running backs this year.
But you say on there that CeeDee Lamb's your number 1. So if you're at number 1, and you're a PPR in America, what are you doing? What is Guru doing?
Right. Well, can we say it? CD's a safe choice and pray that Henry's there. If you worry about Henry being there. I mean, maybe one or two people love Derrick Henry in your league and they're going to take him at 18 overall, not going to make it all the way back to you. Then I would, in fact, go with the running back. Now, are we talking PPR?
Okay, at Kaplan Invitational. You're in a Kaplan Invitational or the FBI, whatever it is. What are you doing at number 1?
Probably going to go with the running back. Just
you're going to go, even though your 200 says you're going CD.
It does. But hey, I mean, I just do the best that I can to rank the players. What I do with that is I take where they're going and when I think they should be going. So I try to marry, being logical and taking these guys around when they're going and maybe when I think they should be going. But no, you bring up a good point here right at the top. It is a very, very, very tough call because Tyreek is so damn good. Lamb is going to get another 175 damn targets, big time target percentage. And Chase is an absolute stud who has not yet had his best season.
Is it Mon-Ra over Chase right now or no?
Oh, no. I mean, fairly you could argue it. What's that?
It's an argument though. Like Bijan. Okay, let's say you're number 2 and someone's listening right now goes, man, if Guru's going Breece Hall, then guess what? I'm gonna take Bijan. Number 2, do you go Bijan or do you go Tyreek and CD and Chase and then you go Bijan?
Yeah, I think if you make a decision, I'm going running back here. I based on a variety of factors. Again, maybe you think Derrick Henry won't last to your late second round pick. Then I think you just commit to running back because this year, and again, I'm trying my best not to waffle. I know I have Lamb and Chase. And by the way, I'm updating it. I might change it up. And by the way, also, it's still been a little fluid here. I was pretty much all in the running backs. Then about 2 weeks ago, I started finding that Derrick Henry was going before that last pick of round 2. So at 1, I was like, oh, wow, I better get that running back now. So it's a little fluid, but the bottom line is I see this year not as many, clear stud wide receivers at the top. So I think we're looking at those 3 guys, Lamb, Hill, and Chase. Then I see a drop off, and then I'm going running backs over all other comers, and that includes Justin Jefferson. Obviously, we've got a problem there. Amon-Ra is very good, but I do think this is the year to go with running backs. And one of the reasons
so do you if you're number 3 then and Bijan and Breece are gone, do you go McCaffrey or would you go, hey, we're going to go with these Tyreek, Chase, and then it's McCaffrey? Because it seems like McCaffrey, you seem to think that there's a fall off, right?
Yeah, I do. I'm very concerned. I'm making sure I'm behind his ADP. I don't want to go there. In part because unlike last year, Breece was coming off an ACL. Bijan was playing for Arthur Smith as a rookie, hadn't really done anything. Same with Jahmyr Gibbs. And Jonathan Taylor was embroiled in a contract dispute, big time, holding out. So completely different ball game this year. It's like, okay, last year I'm like, all right, I'm not going to take McCaffrey, but I get it. I understand it. Now we're a year older. And now we have these 4 really pristine running back prospects. They're young, they're durable generally, and they're very versatile. Like, the question is, why would I risk it with a 29-year-old McCaffrey? He had the calf sprain in the calf issue here in the summer, and that is very concerning to me because that was the injury that he suffered last year in week, 16? The fantasy 17, the fantasy championship week, and he didn't play again for 3 weeks. Granted, he was good in the playoffs, maybe not as good, but what if he had that injury in week 4? Or what if he does this year? He aggravates it in week 3. Now you're in for a long road here, potentially worrying about McCaffrey. Why do it when you have very viable alternatives who are on average like 5 years younger?
All right. So these are my cream of the crops. I'm curious on this one too. So I have Drake London in the 4th as a keeper if I want. Why are people so high on London right now when he hasn't really shown anything? Now, granted, he has a quarterback this time. oh, since he has a quarterback, now all of a sudden Pitts and London are like all of a sudden the belle of the ball. But wait a second, like they haven't really shown anything. So why are they going so much higher now than they were before? Like I get that it's Kirk Cousins. Is it really that significant of a difference?
Brian, you can chime in here. Man, Des Ridder, he's bad. I mean, he's really, really bad. And Marcus Mariota is worse. So now we don't know if Kirk Cousins is going to be ready for week one. I think that still might be something of an issue, but at least we do have Michael Penix. I'm not in love with London, but I think he's pretty good. I wasn't a big London person originally when he came out. I did have a long conversation with my boy Roddy White, who was at practice, and he studied him closely his rookie year, and he was like, no, he's going to be good. He's separating on the outside against good corners in man coverage, which is a good litmus test. And he's been pretty good. Just really held back by the quarterback. Brian, where are you with London? Are you with the masses that are giving him more love these days?
I'm a little pulled back on Drake London. I used to do a segment on my SiriusXM show on Sunday nights called Hate the Drake. It was players who let you down that day. And Drake London appeared on that list an awful lot. But again, to your point, a lot of it's quarterback play. You look at what he did last year. Really, the games that he produced, and he only had 2 weeks where he scored over 20 PPR points, it's because he was force-fed targets. He had weeks of 11 and 12 targets to get there. If I'm drafting a guy, in one of those top 4 rounds, I want to make sure he's got that kind of week winning upside. I'm not necessarily sure that Drake London does. And also, by the way, we're going to feed the ball to Bijan. We're going to give the ball to Kyle Pitts finally. And Darnell Mooney, really nice player on the other side that they brought in from Chicago. So I'm pulling back a little bit on him. He's a big contested catch guy. I don't know how much he's going to get up and down the field. I'd rather see who else is around that ballpark. Like, Guru, I'm looking at your rankings right here. I've got your top 200 cheat sheet from FantasyPoints.com. Marvin Harrison Jr., you've got ranked just around him. I'd rather have him over him. Puka Nacua, absolutely. Give me Puka Nacua over Drake London. But if you're going to keep Mike in the 4th round, do you have any other options? Who else could you maybe keep from this team?
I mean, Tyjae Spears in like the 10th. I have Joe Burrow in the 8th. I have Etienne in the 15th, which I'm keeping, but I have one more that I'm allowed to keep. And so obviously I'm keeping Etienne, but I was like, Drake in the 4th, I guess that's a value. And then I'm like, but it's not really a value. You kind of can get them there. And then I was thinking Burrow in the 8th is kind of a value. It's not a great value. And then Tyjae, I thought Tyjae was going to be the guy in Tennessee. Like the way that you built him up, Guru, last year, I thought this is going to be a steal next year. I'm going to have the best keepers out of everybody. I'm having an 11th round. He's going to be a first rounder. And now everyone's like, yeah, he's 10th, 11th round. No one's really talking about him.
Yeah, but did you watch him play at all? Because he's good.
I know he's good, but why isn't everyone being like, get him? You got to get Tyjae Spears. You're not hearing that a lot everywhere I look.
They paid Tony Pollard. Obviously, he's coming off a bad year, but he's looking a little bit better these days. It's a dual backfield. Like it's a shared backfield. And I think if they didn't sign Tony Pollard and Tyjae Spears was the starter, I mean, he'd probably be a 4th round pick.
But why would you sign Tony Pollard if you have a Tyjae Spears, and what we thought Tyjae Spears was, right? We thought he was like an exceptional running back. You wouldn't need a Tony Pollard and to pay a Tony Pollard when you have Tyjae Spears. So something's going on, right?
Yeah, I mean, well, Spears is a little smaller. He's not, he doesn't have the greatest frame to be a true bell cow. He also has this long-term lingering thing with like, he doesn't have an ACL. I talked with him at the combine. He was awesome. Really great interview. Unbelievable guy. Didn't mention any issues whatsoever, long-term health, but you can't ignore it. They're transitioning a little bit. They've got a young quarterback in Will Levis. They don't want to put too much on his plate, kind of build the offense around these two guys. Again, they'll be interchangeable. But I do love Tyjae Spears. I think he's going to still be very good and deliver, but he's not a value. I'm going to go Drake London there, Miz, because Spears you could probably get right around that slot, 10th round, and then Burrow you'll probably get him right around that spot too.
To be honest, I really don't want Drake London. I'm almost thinking of like I might not do 2 keepers. I might just do 1 keeper. But I know Drake is probably going in what, the 3rd round?
Second.
It's all
second
over the
round.
board.
So I mean, I got a 2-round value.
Yeah.
And in the first, I'm the 6th pick. So I imagine everyone's going to follow the rules. So I'll probably get Brees or I get Bijan. So I'm like, okay, so now I have my 2 running backs. Now the 2nd round, I could probably come around in that 6th spot and get, I don't think Garrett Wilson will fall to me.
No.
But I also think like, I don't know if I want Devontae Adams. Like I do, like, do I want Devontae Adams?
No.
Because like I know the talent. I just don't know the quarterback, right? I don't know if the quarterback can get him the ball. And then I'm trying to also think, all right, what am I looking for in that come around? I want a wide receiver 1. I don't think I can get one.
Malik Nabers. That's the guy.
You think in the 2nd round that early?
By the end of ADP season here, when all these drafts are said and done, I think we're going to see Malik Nabers sneak up into the 3rd round. Guru, I think we talked about this last night on the show. He's going like 4th right now. I think you're going to see him like early 3rd, late 2nd. The hype on him is going to get out of control. I saw Jordan Renan, Giants beat reporter, talking him up that he could lead the league in targets. And he's the offense. They don't have Saquon anymore. Are you really going to put the ball in Singletary's hands, 30 times a game? Absolutely not. They're going to find any way they can to get Nabers the ball. So if you're looking at guys like that, end of the 2nd round, you're looking for wide receiver, the world's your oyster. I mean, what do you think of Cooper Kupp? Do you think he can bounce back? I know, Guru, you're an ageist, but if Cooper Kupp's healthy, he's a target monster. The football nerd is here to win.
But what about Puka Nacua? Would that, I mean, a lot of people had him higher than Cooper Kupp. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. I have a name for you. Here's a name now, Mike. I remember one year I loved this guy and you weren't feeling it. He did blow up. How about a little Deebo Samuel? Anticipating.
You want a little Deebo, huh?
Yeah, I'm back.
Well, what if Ayuk stays?
Well, then now you're still dealing with a guy who's fine. Maybe you might regret.
Fine. I don't want fine. Okay. Nobody wants fine. Okay. I want, this is amazing. This is what going to win me the league. I want picks like that. I don't want fine. Maybe I go King Henry. Why wouldn't I go Derrick Henry there and have ETN and I have King Henry in the flex?
I mean, this is a year if you want to be sneaky. Yeah, because the depth at wide receiver in these middle rounds, you mentioned a couple of names, not even middle, earlier rounds, 3, 4, 5, 6. Michael Pittman, DJ Moore. I mean, there are a lot of names here, but let's take a look at Deebo. Number 1, Deebo last year was right there. If you recall, I loved Ayuk last year. I'm like, this guy, just get him. And he was great. But guess what? Deebo had more points per game last year with Ayuk.
Was he a wide receiver 1 or 2 though last year?
He was a high end 2.
Okay. So that would mean I would have 2 great running backs and then a high end wide receiver 2 who could blow up to be number 1.
Yeah.
Because we know that. And then I'll have the Drake London, which will hopefully be a wide receiver 2, maybe.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to look for a tight end. Now, a lot of people are blowing smoke up the McBride and the Kincaid. Are we in the same realm as that? Are we getting them over, say a Mark Andrews, Kelsey? Are these but we're always targeting for someone, right?
Yeah.
You might not if you're thinking I love Kelsey. I think he's amazing. I think he's incredible. Last year I got him in the 1st round. Just because that's how much I believed. And no matter what, you could always have trade bait because it's I got this. But I'm wondering, am I going to start going towards these guys? Because Laporta is going to be gone in my leagues. I know that he's going to be overdrafted early. And I don't think I want any of that. I don't want that smoke.
Right.
I feel like I want to find the newcomer, the new tight end.
Yeah.
The tight end that's but the problem is these new tight ends are the darlings. Is Njoku an option?
I liked Njoku last year, and he came through. I feel like I got lucky from Joe Flacco though. I'm worried about Deshaun for your Browns. Sorry, Miz.
Thanks.
His arm's a little sore right now. I'm like, I mean, it's been a
What about
while.
Winston? Jameis is good. Jameis can throw the ball.
He will. He will.
He might throw it to the other team a bunch of times, but he's gonna get it to. He's gonna have the same amount of interceptions he has touchdowns. You know what I mean? Like, so I mean, he's gonna be targeting. I just don't know. Like, I'm looking for that tight end, man. I'm looking for that.
I got the guy. I got the guy.
Round that nobody else is like talking about. It's like, I got this guy.
I got the guy. You ready?
Yeah, ready.
Jake Ferguson, Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, really? You don't think people are looking at him?
You know, he's the 11th tight end off the board. I've got him at 8. So that's a little buying opportunity.
Do you think he's a 12th rounder? Where do you think he's going to fall in a 12-man
12-team league? You know, 8th or 9th round. I mean, it's like,
okay, so I'm looking 8th or 9th round.
People are on him, but you know, he's really only done it for like, let's call it 2/3 of a season. If you recall, Miz, you listened to the show 2 years ago. I love Jake Ferguson. I told everyone to pick him up in Dynasty, and boom. I mean, we haven't even peaked yet. He's a great dude. I chopped it up with him in Indy at the combine. He plays fantasy, so you love that. He's Barry Alvarez's grandson. Okay, he played for Wisconsin. His grandfather's a freaking legend, and no entitlement whatsoever. Good guy. And here's the key. He's sneaky athletic. He's not like a freak by any stretch, but he's very smart and very savvy. And Dak Prescott is what we call like a see it and throw it quarterback. And oftentimes, if the first, second read isn't there, he defaults to checking it down or looking over the middle for his tight end, as I call him, his blankie. You know, when Dak came out, I did predict that summer that he was going to be good, and the Cowboys nailed the pick and all that. And what the first thing I saw was, oh, wow, he's really looking for Jason Witten. You can look up Jason Witten's numbers, very big numbers, late in his career too, playing with Dak. So they're a little limited to receiver. You know, Brandon Cooks and Lamb, and then they've got a lot of unknowns. Running back room.
What are they doing there?
What's that?
What are they doing at running back?
Uncle Rico, baby.
Yeah,
you think Uncle Rico's it?
Well, they could bring in a guy. They probably will.
Are you gonna be picking Rico?
I have. You can get him, Brian. You can get him in like the 16th round.
What? He's a starting running back, though.
It doesn't matter. I was out your neck of the woods in Canton, Ohio about two weeks ago at the Fantasy Football Expo. 14-team Kings Classic draft. Mind you, in that draft, I took Bijan Robinson at the 102 because I knew coming back to me, running back was going to be blown up, and it was. So I ended up taking DJ Moore and Deebo Samuel as my wide receivers there. Still end up with Ken Walker, Raheem Mostert a little later. But yeah, you're talking about Rico Dowdle. People are taking like shots on backups. They're like, oh, give me Ray Davis and give me Blake Corum and guys who don't have roles at this point before they're taking Uncle Rico, who, if the season started today, is the starting running back for the Dallas Cowboys.
Isn't Ezekiel Elliott there, though?
He's there, but I mean, yeah, he'll probably maybe get a little goal line work, but I don't know. They let him go. They didn't want him after a while. And from all of the stuff I've seen in camp, all they say is Rico's getting the first touches every time they're doing drills, and he looks good. They're just, nobody's talking about it because he is very replaceable. I don't know if Khalil Herbert gets cut, maybe they sign him, or Miles Sanders finds his way out of Carolina. But
it's just been a blast, Mike. We really appreciate it. But any other questions here? We've been going for an hour. We can keep going. I don't know. Do we answer all your questions? I really felt bad when you reached out and said, I can't hear it on the radio.
What is your sleeper? What's your number? What's the guy that you're not leaving a draft without?
Well, it's a boring one because it's Tyler Conklin, and that's a guy you get at 200. But
that's not boring. That's honestly when I'm looking at these names and I'm going, there's no one here. And I usually just take a name. I just take a name that like I know of. Like, I could probably get something out of this person. Right?
Okay. All right. Well, let me give you a few more here. Hold on a second. Let me call it on up here. because you're on the website, I assume, and
I am. And by the way, you said, hey, if you want to comp, like I don't like your comps. No, I don't get. I support people that I believe in and that that literally I feel like are going to give me the information. So I not invest. I guess I do what everyone else does. I go to FantasyPoints.com and I literally just get my package.
Oh, Khalil Shakir.
Love it.
Whoa. I literally was just listening to Fantasy on XM, right? Fantasy Sports on XM.
Yeah.
And literally someone said, that is someone I'm avoiding. I would not get him even if like I got paid $1,000. It was an avoid. Like, who was it? It was who was it?
It wasn't between 7 and 9 Eastern today, because that was me and Brawley.
Yeah.
No, it's Fantasy Life. Who does Fantasy Life?
Oh, it's Kendall and Adam Ronis.
No, it was just one guy.
Right.
Maybe I was wrong.
Maybe he was on there.
The show before it. Either way, this guy said the person to avoid was that. Why would he say that? And why do you like him?
I mean, he is going to be, I think, their top outside receiver. I mean, he could play inside, of course, but he averaged like 16 yards a catch last year. He had like an 84% catch rate. Like the data on him was pretty ridiculous. They lost everyone. The only wide receiver on the damn team now who's caught a pass from Josh Allen's Khalil Shakir. You've got the rookie Keon Coleman.
When are you getting him? That's what they said. Go get Keon Coleman because he's going to be the guy.
I don't think so. I mean, he's flashy. He could.
I like you, Guru. You're different. You're different. You go against the grain, and that's how you win your league.
Yeah, Khalil Shakir is more of a lunch pail guy, but they're going to need someone to move the sticks, move the chains. Remember what Josh Allen was peppering Cole Beasley with targets? Like it's somewhat similar, but Shakir's better though, and he could do more outside. He's good. He's a very good player.
When are we targeting him?
When he's a guy you get him as like your fifth receiver.
Oh yeah, his ADP's in the middle of nowhere. I'm looking at his sleeper ADP. I mean, this can't even be right anymore. It says he's like a 12th round pick. That's got to be wrong. I mean, you in a home league, I'd say 10th, 11th round probably.
Yeah, I like Josh Palmer a lot for the Chargers.
Yep,
me too. Who is it?
Josh Palmer.
Josh Palmer?
Yeah. I mean, okay. I know you, Miz. You're looking for the big upside. Well, then take Christian Watson. That's who I'm in on this year.
Christian Watson. You love Jordan Love.
Exactly.
Okay.
Last year, if you recall, I did love Jaden Reed last year. He was good. I mean, he was good. I just think he's a little expensive this year, and Watson's flying around, running like a deer. I saw him practice for a week. He's uncoverable. Let's see here.
What's been stopping him from being an elite wide receiver?
His hamstring.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is he okay now?
He had some sort of weird imbalance thing, and apparently it's been addressed, and so far so good. I do like Ray Davis late. I know Brian brought him up earlier. I don't know if I'll take him over Rico Dowdle because Rico Dowdle is going to have a role, but I do really, really, really like Ray Davis. I do like our boy, Tyjae Spears. Redraft, get him. 100 picks in, Miz. I love him. You know where to reach me, Mike. Thanks again for the time. I had a really good time catching up with you. I'll probably do that draft with you in a couple of weeks, though, for the Allison Chains League.
Let's do it. Didn't I win? Did I win last year or 2 years ago? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I forgot to ask you
It might have been last year or it might have been 2 years ago. Either way,
I think it was last year.
I win a lot of leagues.
I think it was last year. Now I'm just finding this out. That's awesome.
I win a lot of leagues. It's what I do. I listen to you and then I go out there and I win.
We could talk some shit in a couple of weeks for the broadcast.
Right. Game on.
Let's go.
That's the commercial. That's all we need is I read your stuff. I win leagues. Boom. There you go. All right, folks. Well, thanks to the Guru. Thanks, Thomas, for keeping us on the air. Mike the Miz, fantastic spot right here. We'll see you guys next week for the Fantasy Points podcast.